HO Talk Show. I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles.
It's Max.
In the booth in the building
Yeah.
one more again. Man, for this once again kicking it off the celebration of this Women's History Month, Black Women's History and all that. Max, that was a great way to bring it in, none other than Miss Adrienne Butler, an educator.
Feel
right?
Good.
Because we all educate in our own right, because we all are an influence. We are a book to somebody. Somebody's reading us.
That's right.
So for her to get
even
that
if you don't know,
hey, that's the ones you got to worry about. You never know who's watching. Yep. And that's why we're gonna continue the show as well. Next hour, we're gonna be joined by none other than our local NBC news anchor, Miss Erin Brown. With happy to have her with us so she can share her journey through journalism and media, and what it all means to her, especially in these times we live in right now. I think this is going to be fun to pick her brain as well when it comes to with the madness. How do you stay professional? How do you keep because of course, like, we have a urban talk show, so people expect us to come on here and run off at the mouth. But when you are a news reporter,
right,
you are trained to keep your opinion out of it.
That's right.
You just got to report the news.
That's right.
So so curious to hear her talk from a personal level. It should be good.
And like I'm not but so many years young, but there's only two television news stations here in Charlottesville.
Yeah, technically, because one of them owns like 3 different channels.
Yeah, and some of them have looked one way for a really long time. And so it was very apparent when they started to diversify. And it's all a great thing. But I'm sure it doesn't come without the challenges when you don't fit the norm and kind of making some new trails. So yes, it will be exciting to talk to her.
Yes, indeed. And closing the show with with our little sister. Hope she don't mind us calling her that. Our baby sister. None other, no stranger here to the community. That's right, Miss Diana Bryant.
Yes.
She has thrown her hat in the ring for the Charlottesville School Board. So props to her. And we definitely got to have that conversation out of all she does, all she's involved in, all the great work. What was the decision-making process for this one? To get caught up in city government.
I mean, I'm interested as to why she started city council and I didn't just jump straight to not city council. Why she started with the school board and didn't jump straight to city council. But maybe it's stepping stones. There's a process.
It's definitely a process. And I'm going to ask her because I'm always curious. And, a family, y'all definitely chime in the comments as well with any questions or comments you have for today's show and guests. Because I'm always curious, too, when it comes to folks, particularly like activists who then get into the political ring. Because, it's school board, but it's still politics. You know what I mean? At the core of it. Because I liken that to, say, someone who does something for the love because they have a passion to do it versus making a living off of it, or turn it into a job. I guess maybe a better way to relate that. You know what I mean? Because when you do something because you love it, it feels fun.
Right.
But then when it becomes more serious, or like a job, that sort of takes the passion out of it sometimes because it's more regimented. So I'm always just curious.
Ties your hands in some way.
You ties your hands. You got somebody to answer to per se. Right. Yes, I'm always curious and within that thought process.
Right. Well, I mean, needless to say, there are individuals who believe that advocates for social justice, things like that, shouldn't hold certain positions. Just because they're an advocate first, and they feel like in some ways that hinders the work in other arenas.
Right.
So yes, I'm sure that certainly will be a topic of discussion as she campaigns for school board. But I think she's good for it. Of course. All the work that I've seen her do thus far is much needed work for this community at large. So.
That is spot on, spot on. So, Max, as we close the first hour of today's show of Women's History, when you think about that, tell us who comes to mind first with Miss Max when you think about historic women. Who's an influence to Miss Max? And then maybe even what's that legacy that Miss Max wants to leave?
Let's see.
I know it's a bunch. You can just throw one out.
Honestly, if I'm really speaking truthfully, it'd probably have to be my maternal grandmother.
Okay.
Name is Gussie Inez Tibbs. She lived to be, I think, about 93 years old. Was definitely the matriarch of our family. And honestly speaking, the best person that I knew. She's very selfless. She was always feeding the family, and I mean preparing meals for 40, 50 people, like nothing to it. You know how grandmamas do it. She was always full of wisdom, always steady for the course. And I grew up under that. And had the opportunity to be able to observe her live out her life in that manner.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
like we need more of that, because I can bet that those influences is what you carry on, because you saw the example and you want to try to leave that as well. And like it was crazy, Max, because I was just thinking just yesterday, I was in like another rural area that I didn't grow up in, and just talking to some of the older guys, like it made me really think about like the times when I grew up, and just having those elders, the grandmother, the uncles, and stuff like that, and that sense of community, right? That we used to have. That I don't really know if we have anymore, because we're so distracted, right? It's like we're almost victims of our own success, because everybody got technology, everybody, got a career working on careers, and it's like that family element is just so important. And I think passing that down and us regaining ownership of that importance of family and that legacy. Oh man, it's like there's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And I think our youth nowadays I think we're doing them a disservice.
True. No, I certainly agree with you. And my family's a testament to that, because unfortunately when grandma went on to glory, a lot of traditions and unity that existed just because she did dissolved. And yes, our kids don't know that in the way that the older and aren't able to experience that and learn to value it in the way that older generations are. But we have a responsibility, right?
That's right.
We have a responsibility, and if we, you can toss a penny into a crowd and hit, or rock into a crowd and hit more than one person who would say how important family is. However, there's work, there's actions that go behind that, and unfortunately, that's the part that we're lacking.
Yeah. And community, right? Family community is kind of strong. Family builds strong community. That's right. So let's go ahead and take this thing to break, y'all. And go hug a Black woman you love. How about that? IMHO Talk Show.